Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week, we're checking out the PlayStation VR2 library, including games like Gran Turismo 7 and Arken Age. And we're playing a bunch of roguelike word games, which means we've finally gone too far with this whole everything is a roguelike thing.
Just you and your roguelikes. I don't know how we got to this point, but here we are.
I hated them forever, and now it's all I want to play.
Oh, I just remembered something. We'll come back to that. But yeah, it's
okay.
I find myself in Bizarro World.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I also have a television and the internet, so me too.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's all that happening as well. But no, I'm just talking about how you're only playing roguelikes now and you don't touch your PlayStation anymore and all that stuff.
It's true. Those are things that are true as well. Yeah. So yeah. I have found that it's like the week that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Prime Metroid thing is coming out,
yes.
whatever that title is. And I'm curious, not dying to play it, but if it comes out and the reviews are amazing, I want to check it out. So I didn't want to like commit to anything I couldn't put down.
I see.
I'm just kind of like between games right now. Clover Pit, still playing a lot of that. Tomb Raider came out for the Switch 2, and I've been playing that a little bit.
Which Tomb Raider?
The Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, like the 2013 one.
Like, doesn't narrow it down. Okay.
Not at all, no. They, so the, Tomb Raider. The reboot, came out in 2013 for the PS3. When the PS4 came out, they put out a thing called the Definitive Edition.
Mm-hmm.
And now that apparently 13 years later has been ported to the Switch and Switch 2.
Yeah.
And it was like Shadow of the Tomb Raider dropped on one day last week for like $15. So I'm like, sure, I'll play that again. Because that's arguably the best of that new trilogy and still a really good game. And to have it on the Switch 2 is bananas. It looks pretty good. Her hair is a little weird. Everything else in the game looks really weird.
Wasn't her hair kind of weird in the original? Like it was using some kind of new hair technology?
Yes. Like every strand of hair was like animated separately or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bananas back on the PS3. It is much more bananas on the Switch 2.
Oh, no.
But I've seen the screenshots of it on the Switch, just the plain old vanilla Switch one, and it like her hair just looks like a black blob. So it's much better on the Switch 2, I guess, comparatively.
Oh man, I was going to ask why. Like, it feels like it should have been possible to put on the Switch one, but they just were waiting for that extra Switch 2 horsepower to render her weird hair in a way that's not terrifying.
That might have been the obstacle. Yeah. And then here's a weird thing: is they left the multiplayer. Yes, that's right. Tomb Raider 2013 had multiplayer.
Like kind of everything did back then.
Yeah, that's true. That was the time. They left it in, and it still works. And people are getting games. So there is a new, albeit probably short-lived, a collection of people playing Tomb Raider 2013 multiplayer right now on their Switches, which is bananas.
Is it any good, the multiplayer mode?
I've been playing the single player. I haven't ventured into, but I've seen it pop up on Twitch and YouTube and things like that over the last couple of weeks. And it's just wild they left that feature in there and it still functions. Like you can go in and sit in a lobby and wait for a game and go play some Tomb Raider multiplayer.
Man, we really missed the opportunity to get the old Red Faction gang back together when they put that on the Switch 1. I wonder if that was they got a similar revival when that happened.
It did. I remember going in and playing quite a bit of the online, quite a bit for like a couple of days with just randos. But yeah, there were people playing the game. I had no trouble getting matches.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of miss that game sometimes.
Yeah. So somebody's paying for server space to make these games run. Who the heck knows who it is? But it is cool that that function is still in there. And it's cool that you can play one of the shiny newer Tomb Raiders anyways on your Switch and Switch 2.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Nice to, eventually we'll have every video game ever released available for the Switch or whatever the current Switch platform is. So I guess
Right.
welcome, Tomb Raider.
Everybody wants to make a Nintendo game.
If you could bring back one dead multiplayer mode, what would it be? Would it be Tomb Raider?
No. I don't know. You and I, this is a sort of oddball one, but Uncharted 1 and 2 had a pretty great multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
And you and I and some internet friends played quite a bit of that at the time. It probably still works. I haven't tried to play it in a long time, but those were fun. And there were cooperative missions where you had to like work with your friends to drag a giant golden idol across a finish line while being attacked by a bunch of Uncharted enemies. Yeah, that was super fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
I like those because they weren't like strictly deathmatch. Like you're saying, you had the idle objectives. And even when it was just like combat, it wasn't your typical like run and gun around the map. There was a lot of like interesting stealth and kind of weird like tactics you could use to sneak around. It was cool.
Yeah.
It felt like pretty different.
Right. Well, and because it was Uncharted, there was a lot of verticality too. So the arenas were set up in a way that you could like climb up things and climb over things and jump from building to building to evade. And like you said, yeah, just kind of little stealthy elements and more hiding than is generally present in what I consider to be sort of, first or third person deathmatch games.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I'm not sure if there's anything out there that I'm sort of like, oh, that's the game I need to play multiplayer in again. And I mean, like you said, Red Faction was amazing, and I spent hundreds of hours of my life playing that at the time. But it still exists clearly, and I'm still not playing it. So who knows? How about you?
I forgot about Uncharted. One of my favorites has always been there's this mode called Titan from Battlefield 2142. That was the somewhat near future one, where it was like generally the same rules as Conquest, which is the default Battlefield game mode. So like capture the flag. No, it's not capture the flag. It's capture the objective. Excuse me. There just happened to be flags there. But then as the round progressed, you would gain access to the enemy teams. Like they had this big floating battleship that you would then sort of like reverse parachute up to and try and like storm as squads and destroy the reactor. And it was kind of, I mean, it wasn't quite as like offbeat as the Uncharted modes, but it added so much to just the dynamics were so different because you had sort of the ground game happening, which is your typical Battlefield thing. And then you had this side objective where at some point you can go up to the enemy battleship. That was the Titan and try and take it down, and that would instantly win the round for your team. And it was it was pretty unique at the time. I think they actually tried to bring it back in Battlefield 4. They just had an aircraft carrier instead of the flying like Space Fortress thing. But I always wanted to have like a regular Battlefield crew.
That's interesting. What was that? Battlefield had the thing that you love, the commander mode too, right? Wasn't that part of the multiplayer?
Yeah. I don't know if they still have that, but you would have like one player who was like dropping supplies and marking objectives and spotting enemies for their teammates. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, my experience with Battlefield multiplayer was pretty limited. I played a lot of Bad Company online, and I forget which one you and I had played. It might have been Battlefield 3?
Probably 3, yeah.
Yeah, we played quite a bit of online, but the whole like Call of Duty Battlefield. What was the other one? What was the other sort of like World War II shooter thing that had a whole online life? It's gone.
It's like those were the kind of the two. I don't know. There was like they tried to bring back Medal of Honor for
that's the one I'm thinking of.
A couple of years.
Yep. Yes.
I don't know if that really.
And
stuck.
those never really did a lot for me. The one I'm looking at my game collection here, my old like PS3 and Xbox 360 games on my wall here, I was quite into Killzone 2's multiplayer for a long time. When that came out, I think that was the PS3.
Yeah.
There was a mode in that was like a certain duration. It was like 15 minutes long, and it kept switching objectives every couple of minutes.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, and what it would be like 3 minutes of a deathmatch, and then it would be 3 minutes of teams, and it would split you like on the fly into teams, and you had to like maybe fight against your friends or whatever. And then it'd be like 3 minutes. They had a mode called Marked Man, where it was one person had to try to stay alive. They would pick somebody randomly in the game to be the marked man, and it was basically everybody against that person. And you had to try to stay alive for 3 minutes. And just that sort of rotation kept it super fun because you never knew what the next thing was going to be. And it kept mixing up teams and mixing up objectives. And every now and then you'd be, trying to stay alive against 15 other people. It was always just super fun and kind of kept me on my toes in a way that, again, the standard deathmatch stuff usually didn't.
Yeah. I always tended towards the modes that were not just, get the highest kill count or whatever. Or kill the most
objective
people.
Based. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I always really like Battlefield, because on top of just not being kill focused, or not being as kill focused anyway, there was a lot of stuff that you could do. There are a lot of ways you can contribute other than just shooting people. So I don't know, maybe there's like a multiplayer mode out there. I mean, I'm sure there is. There are so many multiplayer games now. But I also just don't really feel like I don't really need to jump into those like multiplayer lobbies every night like I used to.
Yes, yeah. We have shout out to our buddy Eshin from the Video Game Hangover community on Discord, who has been praising the gospel of Arc Raiders lately to all of us. Yeah. And I don't know that he's found anybody in the VGH community who is interested in jumping in with him. I like the aesthetic of the game and it seems super fun, but I don't know that I would spend $40 or $50 on a nightly commitment to have to play this game with my friends, which mean it would probably just be wasted money in my case.
There are a few like single player sort of offline extraction shooters that I've been looking at. I feel like I talk about this every week at this point, but I'm like,
you're still looking for recommendations?
No, I mean, I have my list. I just don't have the time to, I'm just playing other stuff. But it's always there. I'm just like, I should check this out, and maybe that'll be my thing for a week or whatever. But like, if there's a way I can do it offline by myself and not have to, not have to worry about getting griefed by all the kiddies online, that's even better.
That's just Ashen.
Yeah, it's just Ashen following me around with, I don't know what kind of guns you use in that game. But like, who's this guy? He's everywhere.
Yep. Well, I think the sort of the drama of Arc Raiders is that everybody has the objective of sort of fighting against the enemy in that game, but you can also sort of like on the fly fight against each other. And there's always sort of this like, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Are you a friend or foe? Whenever you encounter another player online, which adds a little wrinkle of excitement, I think, to the game.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know if I need that.
Yeah.
I don't need the drama.
People like drama.
I don't like drama.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is your multiplayer minute with Randy and DJ.
It's been a while. I mean, like all the multiplayer stuff I tend to do. Well, I mean, I was going to say it's largely co-op stuff, although we have been doing a lot of Mario Kart lately.
Mario Kart Peak, content warning.
Yeah, there's not a lot of death matching, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that Metroid going to have multiplayer? Have they mentioned that at all?
Yeah, I don't think they've mentioned anything about that Metroid game. I think it's really just...
Still nobody knows anything?
Super under the radar. There have been like 17 Kirby Air Riders directs and one 90-second Metroid video. They
got to stop giving Sakurai the mic and just like license to do whatever he wants for like 90 minutes or whatever. He's just like, I'll talk about the very specific physics of this one Air Rider machine or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just like I love that guy. He's just a unique mind in game development. But it's also like maybe he should have his own YouTube channel. And then I remember he totally did, and he just continues to make weird videos like that. Except now Nintendo puts them out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. They need that content.
Get him to talk about Metroid for 90 minutes.
Yeah. So So, yeah. Metroid comes out this week. It'll be out by the time this episode comes out. Maybe it's good. Nobody knows.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm kind of in the same spot where I'm just like, I don't know if I need to play that immediately. Yeah. I definitely don't need to play it immediately. Let me put it that way. Unless there's some sort of big surprising thing about it that we don't know. Which it sounds like there very well could be, because we know so little about how the game works.
Yeah. Yeah. It could go either way, right? With Nintendo, with any developer, honestly. Maybe it's amazing and they're just keeping all the cool stuff to themselves. So people kind of discover it on day one, or maybe it's terrible and they're just trying to hide it and bury it.
I don't think it'll be terrible. Although that last video they put out, I was like, maybe it will be terrible. But like Retro has a pretty good track record. I feel like the Metroid Prime games have always been pretty well regarded, even if they are not like, setting the world on fire.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one they sort of infamously or famously had to sort of like reboot development on. They had to sort of start over from scratch after X number of years of working on it. That's maybe that's a good sign. No quality control at work, but and there's not a lot of developers that can just throw everything away and start from scratch again. So yeah, I don't know. Cautiously optimistic. We'll see.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of show business we can get out of the way here I was going to say at the front of the show, but we're like 40 minutes in now, aren't we?
We're doing this at least for an hour and a half. Yeah. Regular Masahiro Sakurai hours here.
Right. Stream announcement coming up on Monday, December 8th. We are going to go back to Peak. We're calling it the final chapter because we are going to get to the top of this goddamn mountain.
Going to do it. It's happening.
Yep. And it has not been done yet ever by anyone in any place at any time. And we're going to be the first. So tune in Monday night, 12/8, 9 p.m. Eastern time, special 9 p.m. start this week to see us ascend to the next level.
Yes. Ooh, what happens then?
I don't know. It's like you're under the ocean and you have to like get to the surface. No,
it's not what I was expecting.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I was going to say get launched into space, but we've already played a version of Peak where somebody got launched into space.
Yeah, that didn't work so well.
No.
Oh, man.
You would think he'd be closer to the top of the mountain, but it just could not seem to get it together.
Yeah, you think it'd be much easier to just go down from above.
Yeah. But yeah, so twitch.tv/VGHangover, December 8th, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do this thing. It's God is my witness.
Yeah. So the thing I remembered earlier when we were talking about roguelikes is, this is our currently scheduled as our final stream of the year. I was going to make you play Spelunky to see how that went over.
I have not attempted to play Spelunky since way back when I didn't like roguelikes.
Right. So that I was like, I knew there was something I was forgetting, but
maybe I would love it now. Maybe,
yeah, who knows? I think I think you're probably definitely in a better mindset to appreciate it. I don't know if you would love it, but well, I don't know. We'll find another time to do that because that's still, it's on my list to see what that's like. But I think Peak, we got to get to the top of this thing, so let's do that.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we can do a couple fun things over the Xmas break.
Yeah.
What else? We should also talk about briefly Extra Life. You can still donate to Extra Life before December 31st. You can certainly donate after that as well. But the phone lines are open. And if you'd like to make a donation to Extra Life before the end of the year, it is the time of giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do so. Go to vghangover.com/extralife and help support this awesome charity and children's hospitals in our communities.
Yeah, that would be great.
And then last, but certainly not least, the Drunktacular is upon us. As DJ mentioned, we're wrapping up our 432nd year of podcasting here at Video Game Hangover. And as we have traditionally done, the final episode of the season will be a call-in show with your questions and comments and other fun things. We are going to record that. We're going to live stream that Friday, December 12th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to vghangover.com/drunk for all of this information. And we would love your help. So how can people help, DJ?
Well, so for our final episode of the year, we usually spend it answering questions from the community, which means you listening to this. So if you'd like to contribute, you can send us a question in several ways. You can email us at contact@vghangover.com. You can send it to us on Blue Sky, where we are vghangover.com. Or if you want to actually be featured during the show, you can use your phone to send us a voicemail. Just call 682-999-VGH1, record a little message for us, and we'll play it back on the air and then answer it. And it'll be very exciting.
Mm.
And these questions can be about anything you want. They could be about games, but they don't have to be. So anything that's on your mind. It could be about, for some reason, like car repair. So people ask us what items we'd most like to have on a desert island, that sort of fun stuff. But yeah, whatever is on your mind. Just send it in before, where is it? Before Thursday, before the end of Thursday, December 11th, to make sure we have time to get it into the show.
Right. Yeah, it's always a good time. DJ and I will be drinking adult beverages and, weighing in on your questions and comments and all the other fun stuff that you send our way. But it will be very awkward if you don't send anything. So we definitely need your help.
Yeah, it'll just be us drinking for an hour and a half straight with no interruptions. And that sounds dangerous.
Yeah. And DJ and I just talking about Call of Duty for 3 hours.
Oh, man, there was a point where I could spend 90 minutes talking about my Battlefield 3 loadout. Man, just a regular Sakurai style video, just talking about, scopes and whatever.
Yep. People tuning in going, is this a Nintendo Direct?
Yeah. It's the new Smash Brothers. Anyway, VGHangover.com/drunk. All the info's there. Please send us your questions, though. We really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we need it desperately. And now, games. We played some.
Yeah.
Talk to me about PlayStation VR2.
Oh, man. So, I spent the last year basically not playing PlayStation VR games. So I figured now is the perfect time to talk about it.
I remember distinctly, like a long time ago, you saying, I bought a PlayStation VR, and then nothing.
Yeah. Well, I got it, I think it was probably last year during Black Friday. So suspiciously, the timing lines up. Where, I've always been kind of curious about VR in general. PlayStation VR seemed like probably the most practical way to get into it. Because, there's so many other platforms if you're playing like on Steam or on one of those other VR platforms that I know a lot about. But if I can get something that I just plug into a console and it supposedly works, then maybe that's the way to go. So I got one of these last year, and I was super excited to play. I had a whole list of stuff lined up, like Gran Turismo 7 and Rez. I did actually talk about Rez last year when I got this. And then Infinity Nikki came out, and I was like, oh, no, I got to play this instead. So I just spent the rest of the month doing that and kind of forgot about PlayStation VR. But over the last couple of months, especially during Extra Life, I spent a little time playing some new stuff. And especially over the last few weeks, I've been trying to just get back into it so I can finally talk about PlayStation VR 2. What are your thoughts on VR in general? What's your experience? Have you played a lot of VR games or recent VR games like this?
No. I've I used the Steam one at a PAX once. And that's it. That's the only VR experience I've had, I believe. I don't even remember what game I played. It must have been that Half-Life thing, the Alex. Because that has been throughout all of this the one VR thing where I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I would play that. Really, there has not been. One. Yeah, not been a lot that has really kind of appealed to me.
That's kind of been my issue with it as well. Is I look at the games that are out for it, or not just PSVR, but any VR platform, and most of them, right. I'm like, this doesn't seem like something. First of all, I don't know if I'd just play this in general, but do I need is the VR component something that's missing from me being able to enjoy games? If I could play the games that I'm currently playing in VR, is that something I would want? And I think in general, the answer is like, no, I'm pretty happy playing them on like a flat screen with a regular controller.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe there are some cases where I would like maybe one or two of those other things. Like maybe it's nice to have the 360 view or have sort of the motion-based pointer controller. And certainly Res was maybe the best combination of all of those things. Like I think Res still works extremely well as a VR game. But in general,
that makes sense. Sure.
Like, would I want to play Final Fantasy in VR? Would I want to play Monster Hunter? Tetris? I don't think so. Maybe I would like to just walk around like a Monster Hunter town or a Final Fantasy town in VR, but I think as soon as like the gameplay sections start, I don't need to be as immersed as much as I need to be able to like pay attention to what's going on the screen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, and I've not kept up with VR gaming news at all. But when it first kind of caught on and a couple of these companies started putting out their devices, there were like, what is the definitive VR experience? And there were like dedicated VR only games that were being released to sort of try to sell these platforms. I don't know that really any of them clicked at all in it. And now we've sort of evolved into kind of clearly the VR2, the second generation of VR systems. And it is a lot of games you would play anyways, but now they have a VR mode if you want it.
Yeah. I think that's sort of been the trickiest thing in order to get me to sort of like adopt a VR platform, is that a lot of the games still seem like it's a VR mode tacked on, or it's like on the other end of that, it's sort of like a tech demo of like, here's some cool stuff you can do when you're wearing a headset and you have some limited ability to interact with stuff in real space. But I think, or at least in my perception, it feels like there's not, or we haven't seen like the one big VR killer app where it's like a completely unique experience that you can really only have in VR. They all sort of feel like, oh, we took an existing paradigm for a game that works on a flat screen that you play with a controller, and we've sort of like contorted it into being this VR friendly version of that. So I've heard a lot of good things about like Half-Life Alyx, for instance, but that like came from a first person shooter, but it's still on my list.
Correct me if I'm wrong, just a VR game though. You can't play that well, anyways, not in VR.
Yeah, and I would go as far as saying like I think some people have made it possible to play outside of VR. But like, what's the point? Because they've sort of like designed it to work in VR, and like it has all these new VR exclusive sort of like actions and things you can do. So I feel like if you were just going to play it on a flat screen, you're playing a different game at that point.
Right. That makes sense.
So in the same way that like you can't take a VR game and port it onto a flat screen, I feel like it's rough trying to go the other direction and take existing stuff and make it work in VR in a way that feels like essential to that version existing. Because like a lot of the stuff that I played feels like, yeah, you could still play this on a flat screen. The few things that I feel like have worked really well are things like Res I mentioned, and then Gran Turismo, where you're just sort of seated and then you're using it to look around. And it just feels like you are in an environment that is sort of like going past you or is taking place all around you, rather than having to walk around and interact with specific objects and things like that.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that Res works so well because that game predates VR by 100 years.
Yes. Yeah. Man, we're just all over the place with the timeline this episode. Yes. I don't know. Like, this is maybe the longest episode ever.
Time is relative.
Yeah. Res is a really funny case because it's like, it's not an especially common sort of genre of games. Even when it came out, it was like, oh, it's a rail shooter. That incredibly commonplace game. So I think
but it wasn't made to be a VR game, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Right.
It was first released, yeah.
I wonder if they even ever conceived of it being playable in VR, because like the designer has all these like, I don't want to say like crazy ideas, but he's always had all the like a very grand vision for all the games he's made. So I wouldn't put it out of the question. Like I think it's actually very likely he thought, oh, maybe someday you'll be able to play this in VR and it'll be great. But anyway, so Gran Turismo 7 was probably the first thing I went to after playing Rez, just as sort of like, what can I do in VR? And I want to like first talk a little bit about Gran Turismo 7 itself as a game. And I feel like Gran Turismo, and this applies to any Gran Turismo, not just 7, because I've like dabbled in Gran Turismo over the years. But it's just not really a fun video game. It's like there are tons of games where you can get into a car and you know, race it, drive it, whatever. But Gran Turismo is like, you either need to be a crazy like car enthusiast or like an aspiring car enthusiast to really appreciate this game, because it is not something like, even comparing to like its contemporaries like Forza or something, it just feels so sort of like it's a simulator. I mean, it's right there on the box. It's just like, this is what I think about when people talk about like farming simulator or something. It's like, this, I don't know if this looks like it's for me, because it seems like you really have to be into like, you really have to know like all the ways that different parts of the car work and just be familiar with all sorts of models of cars and everything in general, which I am absolutely not.
Right.
And it's clearly designed for that type of person. And like, it kind of comes through in the presentation of the overall game, which is insane. Like, you start it up and there's this whole intro movie that's like in sepia tone and is like the history of not aviation. What's like aviation but for cars? It's just like the history of automobiles and how do we get to this point in time? Like how did the automobile evolve from like whatever into like Gran Turismo 7? It's like, it's probably the most pretentious thing that I've ever seen on a PlayStation screen. And then once you get into the actual game itself, instead of doing missions off a checklist or whatever, you go to the Gran Turismo Cafe, where a little like stock photo of a person talks to you and hands you a little menu booklet that has like 3 different sort of like challenges presented to you as if you're like ordering them off a menu. And it is, again, it's crazy that somebody would make a game that like this is just sort of the like tone throughout the whole thing. But it really, like, it feels like it is designed to be just the highest end sort of car experience you can have in a video game. And everything is designed to being the most faithful and lifelike recreation of like buying a car and tuning up your car and then finally taking your car out to the track. And that's sort of another thing is like, you only ever really just take it out to some race course, which are, you know, I'm sure they're very faithfully recreated in the game, but you're just driving in a circle, or you're, you know, some of them, you know, get a little more elaborate. But the thing I like about driving games is, you know, you're driving them down a street or something. It's just it feels a little more organic than just, oh, how perfectly can I take this next corner, or how well can I stick to the racing line and improve my time in the next lap.
Right. Yeah, it feels to me like the opposite of what makes racing games appealing. Is that like you can drive a car in a racing game in a way that you wouldn't drive your car in real life. Mm-hmm. You can be fast and you can be reckless and you can go over jumps and you can bump other people and things like that. And I know the Gran Turismos of the world. What was the other one? Project Gotham was the other one that was like these sort of like very detailed simulations of having a fancy car and treating it like you paid a lot of money for it and sort of babying it. And I'm not the target audience clearly for this thing, but that doesn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah. I always thought, like, you know, I'm definitely not the type of person. I understand that that's the audience for these types of games. Right. Maybe there's something in there that I can connect with. Like, maybe I'll just do the basic stuff and I can have some fun racing a car on a track, but it really feels like the person playing this game wants to just load it up and understand like, oh yeah, this is exactly how it would feel to drive this car down this track. This is exactly how it would perform if I like push the accelerator exactly like this and turn the wheel like this. This is like the most authentic experience you can possibly have.
Right.
And I just like don't appreciate that, unfortunately.
To the extent that they sell these massive kits with like very fancy steering wheels and shifters and pedals and things like that to sort of replicate the driving experience in your living room or den.
Yeah.
Which again, just go drive your car. It seems like it seems weird to me.
I look at those and I'm just like, imagine how cool that would be. Like have a big fake car.
You shared a $300 steering wheel with me before we started the recording tonight, and I'm like, what? Who? I have a steering wheel in my car.
Yeah. You can't use it with Gran Turismo 7, though.
No, I cannot. Nope.
So anyway, I like that's just a long way of me saying like I probably wouldn't play Gran Turismo 7 if I didn't have this PSVR thing. So like giving me the excuse to play it. So anyway, I don't really like the game, but I put on the headset because I heard it's like one of the best experiences in VR you can have. I forget if I actually had to go and purchase this or if there's just a free mode in the game. Because like as you go through the career mode in the game, you actually have to like buy the cars. You have to earn the money to buy whatever cars you want to drive. So I think I scraped enough cash together to buy whatever the current model Prius is in the game, because that's the car I have in real life. I have like an older one, so I just got like what is the most similar thing. I think it was like one of the only Toyotas they had. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get my car on the racetrack. I'm gonna drive it like I'm just gonna see what it's like to race my car down the track with this headset on. So I've got the headset on. I'm just like sitting in the cockpit, I guess. If you're in Gran Turismo, it's a cockpit. And I'm just looking around, looks sort of familiar. And I'm just like, man, I feel like the experience is already so elevated just from being in like this 3D recreation. Like you can look around, you can kind of see the, all the detailing inside the car and like look out the windows and everything, that I was like, oh man, I definitely need that steering wheel now. Because like playing this with a controller is just not, I mean, it's not the same experience at all. I feel like it goes without saying, but how ridiculous is it to play a game like this with the full immersive VR and then just be holding a gamepad and expecting like, oh yeah, now this feels like, now that I've got the 3D vision and everything, it's just going to pull the trigger and launch down the track or whatever.
Some executive at Sony just got a bonus because you said that,
Yeah, well, I'm just like, I was kind of surprised because I don't think super highly of this game. But just like the fact that, it's a whole level up from playing Rez, because Rez is just all weird virtual like wireframe characters and everything. This one just feels like you are in an actual car. So I'm like, oh man, okay. As soon as I get out of this, I'm going to look up how much that steering wheel costs, because I'm going to think about it. So I squeeze the trigger on the controller and I start going down the track, and just like the scenery starts coming at me. It's all 3D. It's like kind of unbelievable. I can like, turn my head and see everything going by. And I do a couple of just embarrassing laps around the track because I'm not good at driving a car at whatever 80, 90 miles an hour on a track. And then as soon as I like park it and I do my few laps, I'm just like, okay, I need to stop playing this because I am going to throw up.
Oh no.
Because it's just like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess this is a common thing in VR, but when you have that sort of sense of movement and you're not actually moving, it just ruins your brain into thinking that you've been poisoned or whatever. So it's just like, okay, now I need to immediately stop playing this because I'm not going to be in a good place after this. And that's part of the reason why I didn't play any more VR games for a year, because I was like, I can't believe that I never got motion sickness playing a game, but just doing a couple laps around the track in this car, I was just like, I cannot physically play any more of this.
Oh, wow.
Or it's going to be bad.
Are you the type of person who gets queasy and the what are those movies? The found footage movies that like Blair Witch Project and stuff like that, where it's
I don't have an answer for that because I don't think I've
never
seen a movie
movies,
like that in a theater. That's a good question though.
Yeah.
But like, you hear a lot of about people getting motion sick from like first person shooters or whatever,
Yeah.
and that just has never happened to me. Like the closest experience I can think of is weirdly in Mario 64. Like, and maybe there's something here because it was like one of the first quote unquote full like 3D games that I played.
right.
But like occasionally in Mario 64, especially very high up, I would have like very brief moments of like vertigo essentially.
Oh.
But never anything that was like debilitating or would prevent me from playing or continuing to play the game.
How about reading in the car?
Oh no, I can't read in the car.
Oh,
that's not good.
And maybe there's your sign. I'm looking for other places where there might have been some indication that you weren't cut out for VR racing.
Possibly, but like nothing that would have made me think like, oh, this is going to be a bad experience. Plus, I didn't really have any issues with the res whatsoever.
Oh.
So I put it down for the rest of the evening. I went back to it a few days later and I thought, okay, well, maybe I need to sort of like work my way up. Maybe immediately like putting the accelerator to 90 miles an hour and trying to like drift around a corner wasn't the best way to ease into it. Yeah. So I just did like, okay, I'm going to drive this like it's my actual car. So I just got in the car and started going like 35 miles an hour down the track. And it was like not awful. But again, as soon as I started like accelerating up to, you know, how fast it feels like you should be going in a Gran Turismo game, I was just like, nah, I can't really keep on doing this. So anyway, I put it away for a year and have always sort of thought like, oh man, well, that was a huge waste of money. I thought like, you know, I also read all these articles about people having to sort of like develop a tolerance for it, which I was completely open to. I was just like, well, if I can drive a virtual car at 30 miles an hour, maybe I do that for a little bit. And then the next day it's like 40 miles an hour. And then before you know it, I will be just racing down the track. But there was just too many other games coming out that I wanted to play. So I really wasn't that interested in building up my VR tolerance. So I kind of wrote off Gran Turismo 7 and VR in general at that point. Until on Extra Life, I started thinking like I should do something with this stupid VR headset because I didn't have it the previous Extra Life. And I had heard a lot of good things about this game Arken Age, which started to sound like, you know, it still sounded like an experience you could probably have on a flat screen with a controller. Like I don't know how much they were communicating like the VR benefits. And like on like the Steam page or whatever. But it was very highly recommended, so I took a flyer on it. And it's kind of like, it's like a 3D, well, obviously it's like a 3D adventure game where there's some combat, there's some like, I don't know if I'd say it's like platforming, but you end up doing a lot of like movement around a virtual environment. It's like, it's designed so you can play it standing up, essentially. And like rotate your whole body around and like reach for things.
Is this a like a dedicated VR only game, or is it playable in 3D as well?
It's only in VR.
Interesting,
because all the controls and everything are very tailored to like VR controllers and that sort of interaction.
Gotcha.
But what I liked about this is that it has a very robust tutorial mode where they walk you through all the sort of like ways you interact with the game. And so I don't know if you've seen this, but like the PSVR 2, the controllers are sort of like these, these like trigger grip things, like these handheld things. It's not it's not quite just a gamepad that's been split in half. I mean, now that I say that, that's not what it is. It kind of is just like that. But it's got your fingers are primarily on like triggers the whole time. So it's got a little more of like I don't know, like almost a Wiimote feel to it.
Oh. No, I don't think I've seen this.
But you're basically just holding these two sort of like remotes or like nunchucks, I guess. And you use those to like point at things, and you sort of like squeeze the triggers to mimic like holding an object or like picking up an object. And that's why I feel like, okay, so that was sort of a component that was missing from both Res and Gran Turismo. So like in the tutorial for Arken Age, they walk you through like how to pick an object off the ground, which you do by squeezing your fingers like you are actually gripping an object. And then they show you how to like load your gun, which you do by actually putting a little like power cell into it and racking the slide back. And then they show you how to stow it by, I think you can like, you put one over your shoulder and then one goes into your like hip holster, which is really interesting because it like there are a lot of moments in this where you realize like, oh, it's actually asking me to do like the actual motion of holstering my gun or, you know, putting my sword in the sheath on my back or whatever. It's not just like push the X button to reload your weapon or whatever. You actually have to go through all these motions. Which is, like, I had played a few VR games like that previously. I think I had, like, PSVR 1. One of my friends had one. But never as just sort of the setup to playing a larger game around it, because all those other ones just turn into sort of like a shooting gallery. But in this one, it has you doing all these things like reloading your gun, and, like, in order to use a heal item, it's like a little like auto injector that you have to stab into your arm or whatever. But the thing that really sort of like, I don't know, I guess the big VR moment was it gives you these two sort of like ice axe looking things, like these little like pickaxes that you use to climb walls. And so you like unsheath both of those and you sort of jab them into a wall. And while I was doing this in the tutorial, I just like, all right, they're in the wall, and I feel sort of silly now and just not really understanding what to do. But then, like, I realized you just sort of do, like, the exact motion you would do if you were actually using axes like this to climb a real wall. So it's sort of like you put one hand over the other and sort of pull yourself up the wall. And that was kind of mind-blowing, because I had, like, up until that point, it had just been like, I'm going to shoot a gun, which feels like, you know, aiming like a light gun or whatever, or even swinging a sword was something that felt very familiar if you've played, like, any Wii game, essentially. But here I was climbing this wall with these virtual ice axes, and I was like, oh, this is, like, finally a new thing that, that you could do in VR just, like, by doing this weird motion. That you could, I mean, it's totally different than just being Nathan Drake and like pointing the control stick over a bunch of like handholds to shimmy along a wall, right? It feels like you're dragging yourself up and down and left and right on this wall, which is pretty remarkable. And then, so that was all the tutorial, and they put you into this game world where you're expected to like move around and shoot aliens and sword fight with aliens and stuff like that. And at that point, like, you're not moving it quite as fast as you are in Gran Turismo 7, but it is a lot of like one-to-one motion, or it feels like it should be one-to-one, even though I was playing this sitting down, like your character is just walking around freely. And probably after like 30 or 40 minutes, I started getting motion sick again. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I think like at least the experience here is something that I would probably come back to over something like Gran Turismo, because just the interactions are much more interesting. And it seems like there's, you know, I'll play a light gun shooter. It's pretty fun. But I think I would still have to like build up a tolerance to just to being able to move around in VR to really enjoy this. But there were just so many more instances of thinking like, oh, this really does feel like it's like a better use of the technology and what's available than just sitting in a little like 3D cockpit, you know.
Right.
As much fun as I had with Res, it's, you know, it's not the most interactive thing.
You were hanging there a little bit longer too. It sounds like you made it further than you did in Gran Turismo.
Yeah, well, it's just not as much motion in Arken Age. Like the tutorial, you're just sort of standing there, and then when you are actually trying to explore, or when I was trying to explore, I would just walk very slowly, knowing that I probably shouldn't push it too hard. But then there are definitely cases like during combat, if some enemy is rushing up to you, your instinct is to sort of like either backpedal or sidestep, and then from there the motion can get very quick. And it was like situations like that where I just thought, well, this is not totally used to this yet, so it's a little disorienting. But in general, it's not as intense of an experience as Gran Turismo 7. So that's something like I feel like I will try and put some more time into just trying to build up a VR tolerance so I can play something like this, because I want to see what else is in the game beyond just
take some Dramamine before you play.
I haven't I don't know, maybe that's effective. Maybe that would work. I don't know if I'm at the point where I'm just like, yeah, I gotta get sedated in order to play a PSVR game, but I
need drugs to play this game.
Yeah. So that was also sort of like, I feel like at the same time much more promising than Gran Turismo, but also not sort of a case where I had like the motion was subtle enough to like overcome sort of like feeling nauseated afterward. But I feel like I could probably make more progress with something like Arken Age than trying to play a race car game. And then just as a sort of a lark over the weekend, I started No Man's Sky, because this also has VR support.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky is almost 10 years old at this point. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I haven't played it until this weekend. So I can't speak a whole lot to like what you're actually doing in the game, because I also imagine it's changed quite a bit. But I had to say, like, this is probably the most promising use for VR that I've played, other than like Res, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Because what they do in this is it's still a full sort of like 3D experience, except it's designed, or at least the way I played it is, I was just sitting down the whole time, because they let you just teleport around instead of walking. And this is not the only game that does this, but they didn't do this in Arken Age. It was just like the default movement option in No Man's Sky. So what you do is you remain in one place. And when you push the control stick on the VR controller, it just gives you a little cursor that you aim and point somewhere in the landscape. And then when you release it, just teleports you there immediately. So there's no sort of like sense of motion.
Oh.
And it's a little like jarring at first, because it feels weird to just be teleporting around. But it largely removes that whole sense of like, my eyes are sending me signals that my body and brain are like not, or getting mixed up, because you're not actually moving.
Right.
So it took a little bit of time to just get used to that sort of style of movement. But after that, I was just like, looking around, using the sense controllers to like use my mining laser on stuff. I don't know how much you played No Man's Sky. You do a lot of mining in that game.
Yes.
But I was like, okay, I think I could get into this, because the rest of the time, it's basically just, it's just a survival game in space. And at this point, they've got a whole bunch of crafting. They've got like base building. Well, I mean, they've just been patching it for almost 10 years at this point, so who knows what else is in there. But it feels like sort of the thing that I wanted. You're just chilling out in VR in this virtual space, and you're not getting nauseated for the most part. So I was like, oh, okay, this could potentially be dangerous. Actually, I could just log into No Man's Sky and just spend 24 hours mining crystals for something.
Yeah, I were flying in spaceships. I mean, that sounds like it would be very VR friendly. Yeah,
I was very sort of like, I don't know how flying the ship is going to go. So I did a little bit of that, because I was also in first person, and I was like, it seems like it could potentially be worse than the experience playing Gran Turismo. So I was probably flying the ship slower than anybody has ever flown a spaceship before. But I didn't really have any issues with it so far. I was flying very slowly, but like just sort of hovering over the landscape from one base to the next seemed totally fine.
Nice.
And I was going slowly enough that I could sort of like just look out of the cockpit and everything. It's interesting. The spaceship interface in VR is totally different than if you're just playing it on a TV, because you can look down and like all the controls are there. They're like all these buttons on the console, and you have to actually like move the throttle back and forth to accelerate. And there's like the joystick. Wait, which one of those things is the throttle? You move one of those things, or you move both of those things. But it's so different than playing it in like outside of VR, where you're just using your controller. So I was impressed that they actually went the extra mile to do that. But it kind of hit all the other checked all the other boxes that Arken Age was doing in this VR mode, because you have like your little handheld multi-tools that become your mining laser that you store on your back, and all the interface is now done by accessing this little wrist display, which you like hold out one hand and then sort of poke it with the other one, and everything pops up in your face like you're like a Mass Effect character or something. And I just thought, well, so maybe this is the game they should be using to show off VR. I mean, I don't know what else they're using. I feel like they're not really making as much of a push for it as they previously were. But just like the experience in No Man's Sky was so much better than something like Gran Turismo. And I say it's like maybe on par with Arken Age, but there was just not as much movement. So that was a surprise, because I really was just expecting to spend an hour in there so I could, talk about it and just be like, yeah, this is also something that I don't enjoy, but actually it was really good. So now I don't know what to think.
Well, good. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked, well, not initially, but after quite a few patches and updates, I liked No Man's Sky in 2D. And certainly as I think about it, there's definitely elements of that feel like they would translate well to 3D. So cool.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, I don't know how much the game has changed since launch, because I hadn't played it before, but it does seem like the loop is very familiar, where you just like go out and gather resources and put all of those into your like tech tree upgrades and everything. And now they've got all this crazy base building and like spaceship flight stuff and who knows what else. Yeah, I could see myself just hopping in every once in a while and just doing some VR mining.
Nice.
The only thing that feels missing is I don't know how easily I could like load up a podcast or like old Star Trek episodes on my VR headset to do, because I'm like, I just kind of want to like listen to something while I'm mining or whatever. It's one of those games. But I was very surprised. I was really just expecting to hop in and out of No Man's Sky just to say that, oh yeah, I did try this for a little bit, and it was mediocre, but no, it was really cool.
Adequate.
Yeah. So I don't know how much more VR stuff I'm going to be doing in the future. Like I really do hope that someday I'll be able to play Gran Turismo and drive that car and I'll loop around the track. But yeah, until then, I feel like there's enough stuff that it's like something that I don't mind coming back to every once in a while.
Right.
I don't know if any of those things are like the singular, like VR justifying experience, though. It really does feel like it's just like any other video game platform where getting one for the sake of one game is kind of questionable.
Yes. Yeah, which is why I've not bought Half-Life Alyx and Steam VR.
Yeah. I did get it working with my Steam VR,
really?
the adapter thing. So I probably will play Half-Life Alyx at some point. That also has the teleport movement, so at least like I can look forward to that. Just not having to like lie down every 20 minutes.
So there's an adapter that lets you use the PlayStation VR headset with Steam.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
With the controllers too.
Cool.
And I mean that opens up a whole new sort of like avenue of games to play, because one of the other weird things about VR is that like there are so many different platforms for it, and each one has like a different overlap of games available for it. So I feel like with PSVR, at least you get the whatever's on PlayStation, and then you can like hook it into some of the stuff that's on Steam, supposedly.
And is this like an official adapter kind of thing, or is this a workaround that some resourceful gamer has cooked up?
This is an official thing that Sony sells.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and I've heard like, I think there are alternatives, but I feel like I've read reviews saying that like if you're gonna use the PSVR, then you want the Sony adapter. I don't listen to what I'm saying, like, but that's just sort of the impression I got.
Interesting. Cool. I know Sony loves their little walled garden sometimes, so
I was surprised. Yeah,
putting some of their games on Steam lately. So,
oh yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, the fact that they put out this thing that was basically like, "Hey, go play all these other games somewhere else,"
right,
was very surprising to me.
Yeah. But if you can justify buying the PlayStation VR headset to play PlayStation games, then all that other stuff is just extra, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I like justified it.
Yeah, I know.
Like, well, let's see what this is like. And it's more or less been what I expected.
Well, you chose to get the PlayStation 1 over Meta or over Steam, right? I mean, there had to be some logic behind that decision.
Yeah, well, it was mainly like what I was just describing. Like, okay, I sort of get two platforms for the price of one.
Right.
If I go the PlayStation route, or like the price of a $50 adapter or whatever for Steam.
Is there any, and I don't want to turn this into like 55 minutes of VR, but is there any other experience being sold for VR that is not gaming?
That is not gaming. I know, like,
is anybody watching movies on this, or like, I don't know, going to music festivals or anything like, just, I don't know, other experiences?
I haven't. Did I watch a movie on this? I don't know. I haven't really. I mean, so here's one of the issues I have with it is just like the image quality is pretty bad. And a lot of the time, like if it's like a big 3D, like, you know, covers your entire field of view and like stuff is coming at you, you don't notice it as much. But I can't really imagine like I don't know, maybe a movie would be fine, because it's like the issue I have with a lot of like, you can just have it play a flat screen game in the headset. So like even if the game is not really designed for VR, you're just seeing it through the headset. And any like text or anything is so blurry. And there's so much color separation that it's kind of like, why would I ever do this opposed to like playing this on an actual display? But who knows? Maybe it's not as bad if you could have like a huge movie screen in front of you, because that's sort of the illusion it creates if you're like watching something on the headset.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
I also know that like people love that VR chat where it's essentially like Second Life, and everybody has their little virtual avatar and they just sort of hang out. And I don't even know what else they do in that. If it's like you can create your own like games to play, or a lot of the stuff that I see is just sort of like these virtual environments that people hang out in, but people love it. And it's essentially just like a hangout sort of activity.
It needs like a web fishing or that sledding game experience.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's kind of it. I don't know if maybe there's web fishing for PlayStation VR or VR chat or whatever, but I also haven't tried any like live event stuff, because man, getting the thing to work with Steam was such a hassle. I can't even like, I don't know how I would plug in like a sporting event or whatever. I think that's an interesting use case, though. It would be sort of like watching a movie, but you could like be right on the sidelines or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just sports weren't even on my sports are never on my mind, so it wasn't even a thing that I had considered. But yeah, that does seem like that would be kind of the other sort of appealing thing about kind of just being there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I was worried that it was not going to work with the Steam thing at all, because that was my, like, when I tried to do it last year, it didn't work. And then like a month ago, I tried it again, and for some reason now it's fine. So I don't know, maybe I should watch a movie on it. we'll see. I don't think it's like, oh, now this is the only way I'm going to watch movies from now on.
Yes, exactly. Throwing away my television.
Yeah. But who knows?
Well, cool.
Anyway, so that was a lot of VR talk, but
yeah, a year in the making.
It was a year in the making, sort of. Anyway, looking forward to playing Half-Life Alyx someday.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a lot of VR stuff. I do want to hear about the latest roguelikes you've been into, though.
How
many roguelikes are we talking?
I bought 4.
Oh my god!
No, it's not true. I bought 3, and one of them was a demo.
Oh,
a 4th one is a demo. So the way this whole thing started is I had read about this game Beyond Words. And it is the sort of tag was sort of like, oh, it's like Balatro meets Scrabble.
Give me a second. Balatro meets Scrabble. Oh, yeah. Okay, I got it.
So it's the play of Scrabble where you're putting tiles down on a board, but there are all these other sort of like little things that are sort of like modifying the gameplay. Where you can get, like in Scrabble, double word or triple word scores. You can tune certain letters to have extra value and stuff like that. And these are all done through little modifiers that you buy throughout the course of your gameplay. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I like Scrabble, and I like, breaking games like that. I like, the artifacts in Slay the Spire, the good luck charms and Clover Pit, these little things that sort of tweak the rules of the game in some way that feel advantageous or sometimes disadvantageous, are fun to kind of mess around with. And to do that with a word game sounded appealing. And the game had a bit of a pedigree. It's called Beyond Words, and the developers of this are ex-Rare and ex-Free Radical folks. So the top of their page,
just so you want to be making a Scrabble game,
right? The top of their page on Steam says, from the creators of GoldenEye and Time Splitters, and I'm like, wow, here is our roguelike Balatro Scrabble game. There's nothing about this game that would ever get you to think, oh, the person who made Time Splitters must have made this. But yeah, so the demo's out on Steam. It is exactly that. It's Scrabble with a bunch of other kind of weird rule sets. And it's kind of fine. I didn't love it. But like if it was the entire gaming experience for the right price, there's a couple hours of fun probably to be had here.
Just wait until they add that multiplayer mode.
Right. Yes. I think it is a thing that probably could be a ton of fun against another person where you're sort of generating rules that, create chaos for you and some of your friends. I don't know if there is a planned multiplayer mode, but I feel like the success of this game would probably hinge on that to a certain degree. So while I was on the page for Beyond Words, there was a little box at the bottom that was like, perhaps you would like this collection of roguelike word games. And I was like, well, yes, perhaps I would.
And they really got your number.
It was cheap. It was like you could get 3 of them for $12 or something like that. And I'm like, hell yeah, it's a Steam sale. I'm flush with money. Let's give it a shot. So there, it was Wordplay. Birdigo is one of them, and the other one is called Wordatro.
Okay.
Yeah. Wordatro is not Steam Deck compatible, so I've not played that one yet. And it's just, and it's not one of those things where it's sort of like playable, but there's some weirdness. Like on the Steam page, it says unplayable.
Okay.
So that one's a bit of a waste. Unfortunately, I have to play that on my PC at some point if I want to check it out. Wordplay and Birdigo are basically Boggle, but roguelikes. Where you have a field of a bunch of assorted letters. You have to spell words out of that field. And when you use up a tile, other tiles kind of drop into their place. And then throughout the course of it, you're getting little modifiers and cards that tweak the rules of the game. You can color code certain tiles so they are worth extra points or 3x points. You'll get little rules where it's sort of like every word that you start with the letter I is worth 3 times as many points. And each round has a certain par or a certain goal you're trying to get as far as points are. Stop me if any of this sounds familiar. This is basically the kind of the rule set in the gameplay cycle of games like Balatro and Clover Pit and probably 400 other things that I've not played yet.
Well, I was going to ask, like, so I know you didn't play it, but is it Wordotro because they were like, oh, let's, get on the Balatro train, do something with like words instead. Oh, what should we call it? I have no ideas whatsoever. We'll just call it Wordotro. And then they accidentally released the game with that still being the name.
Maybe. I don't know. It does sound like maybe it was kind of an internal joke that became the actual name of the game. Remember how briefly after 2020 there were like 100 versions of Wordle?
There's still they got the dolls out there.
Right. Yeah. You this week shared a Slay the Spire, but it's Wordle.
Yeah. Well, I mean okay, so that's fair. Maybe that is just the like what you call your game if you're making a Balatro like.
Right. So we are in for probably a future of a million games that have Atro at the end of them. Yeah. So wordplay I really liked. Super clean. Kind of interface. It was one where I felt like I was kind of quickly very good at it, and cleared a lot of the objectives really fast. And then there was a pretty significant like difficulty spike later in the game where I failed out miserably and had to lather, rinse, and start over again. But like it's supposed to work with these kind of roguelikes, you're smarter. You kind of know what to expect. You're
Sure.
hoping for certain draws out of the rule modifiers. And trying to sort of like stack modifiers on top of each other. You get ones that are sort of like 3x points if your words start with the letter Q. You can color code certain letters. So I'll color code my Qs to purple and that makes them 100 extra points or something crazy like that. So you kind of like stack these rules on top of each other to just get crazy scores. Yeah, kind of fun. Really very much built for like a touchscreen. It fits perfectly. Kind of on the Steam, I do it with my finger instead of the controllers. So I feel like at some point this game is destined to be a cell phone game. It's probably going to be if it's not already, it's going to be in the Google Play Store and the iOS Store at some point because it clearly was sort of made with that real estate in mind, I think. And then the other one I played is Birdatro. No, sorry, I got it wrong. Birdigo.
I mean, you may as well have played Birdatro, maybe. Sounds like.
Yeah. So that first one was called Wordplay. Still not the most creative word title in the world, but at least it's not a derivative of Balatro. This one is called Birdigo. And it's kind of the same gameplay cycle as Wordplay, but it has a much more kind of cartoony aesthetic where you are a bird kind of collecting your friends to migrate. And you have to spell words, and the points of each word are a number of flaps of your wings. It's a lot. And you have to get to the next milestone to pick up one of your friends. It's really kind of cute drawings, little animated bird on your screen. And then as he collects more and more friends and you get further and further into the game, your screen is full of birds because you've gotten through all these milestones and picked up a bunch more birds as you're migrating. The writing in this is kind of weird, is that it's the same guy who wrote the movie The Corpse Bride.
Okay. The same guy who wrote Call of Duty 3 for the Xbox 360.
Right. Kind of a weird pedigree. So again, the thing people put on their Steam page is the top of the page. It says, from John August, the writer of Corpse Bride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
but like, so he wrote this one. It's not like he had a pet game development site.
I'm not sure what his role in Birdigo is, but he wrote that other thing. So I suspect he's a writer on this. Maybe he's multi-talented. Who knows? But again, it's not one of those things where you're playing this and you're like, this really feels like The Corpse Bride to me. So it's just weird that this is this person's resume.
All right. A lot of people getting into game development.
Yeah. I like video games and I like The Corpse Bride. So maybe he does too. But yeah, it's okay. It's not as good. I don't think it looks as good. I don't think it's as fun. I don't need like a cartoony hook That's my word game. I like that the other one basically just looks like a Scrabble screen. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say props to them for at least coming up with some aesthetic that is not the exact game they're mimicking, and also for not calling it Birdatro.
Despite me trying to make it Birdatro.
Right. That's why you hire, established writers. Otherwise, you end up calling it Birdatro. Right.
Correct. Yeah. Birdatro is not from the developers of Time Splitters or the writer of Corpse Bride. Mixed results. I don't know that I necessarily needed all three of these, particularly since the experiences are very similar. And now that I've played maybe an hour of each of them, one is clearly the superior. So I'm here to say that if you need a word game roguelike in your collection, if you like roguelikes and if you like word games, Wordplay is the one to get. And it's cheap. It is under $10. I think it might actually be under $5. It's a pretty big library. It has a ton of little things that you can kind of unlock, and analytics. If you're like one of those people who does the Wordle and you like seeing the New York Times analytics of everybody's starter word that day and what percentage of completion everybody got to before you and stuff like that, there's a lot of that in Wordplay too. So you can kind of see what the your results history is like. It's good. It feels like the most kind of full featured and not packed with a bunch of nonsense. Wordplay.
Oh man, it's been a while since we did like a head-to-head on the show. I did have a whole like blueprint. I was going to do Gran Turismo versus whatever Forza Horizon was out, or was like getting delisted around this time last year because I started playing a little bit of that, and I'm just like, well, this is much more fun than Gran Turismo. But talk about VR instead with that angle.
I mean, I forgot about Forza. The only one I could think of was that Project Gotham, which I don't think is this series anymore, is it?
No, I think that the developer closed. Or
gotcha.
That was bizarre, I think. But yeah, there was like Forza Motorsport, which I don't think I definitely didn't play that one because I didn't have an Xbox at the time, but I feel like that was the Gran Turismo competitor, and everybody decided like, oh, maybe it's not so surprising. Everybody liked the Horizon spinoff more than the insane simulator one, so who knows?
All right. Well, I think that about does it, right?
Unless you've started playing another Boggle roguelike in the last 30 seconds.
I've not. No.
Okay.
Although, did you hear?
Oh, all right.
Netflix has, because Netflix makes video games now, or publishes video games anyways, you can play like a family version of Netflix on your Netflix subscription.
Wait, a family version?
Let me try it again. A family version of Boggle. You said Boggle, and that's what I think about. Okay. And they released this just in time for Thanksgiving, when everybody's going to be together with their family. And they also released kind of the final season of Stranger Things, but that's a separate topic. And I kept saying things on social media over the weekend of like families fighting with each other over playing Boggle together. And I'm like, I don't know if that was the intended effect, but it's hilarious that that's where this has gone.
I mean, that's like, I don't know if that's Netflix's fault, but that's just any board game with your family or with your friends even. Like, some board games that are just not, like, you just don't have a good time playing.
Yeah, yes. And there's always sort of like family game night propositioned with the best of intentions.
Yes, yeah.
We'll get the family together. We'll play Monopoly.
We'll play some Boggle, yeah. That'll be great.
Yeah. And me and Sarah and her parents have attempted to play, I think, Monopoly and Scrabble on various Christmases over the last couple of years, and it never goes well. There's fights over whether or not that's actually really a word, and nobody can find a dictionary, and we're trying to Google it, and and then sort of house rules for Monopoly. I'm like, I don't think that's real, but no, that's how we play it.
Oh.
Like, you don't get to make up your own rules.
It's the house rules.
Yeah. That's why they call it a house rule.
You should have established that at the start.
Uno. We have played Uno too. Man, yeah. None of these went well.
Yeah, no, that sounds about how I'd expect.
Yeah, we should wrap this thing up. What else? We should remind people about our stream coming up on Monday, December 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We are finally going to get to the top of the mountain and peak. I'm saying it like it's going to come true. I have to manifest this. I'm putting it out into the world.
Yeah.
Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover to see that happen. The Drunktacular is upon us, our end of year wrap up call-in show. We need your help for that. Go to VGHangover.com/drunk to see how you can contribute. We would love to hear from you. You can call 682-999-VGH1 and leave us a voicemail or a bunch of other things. So VGHangover.com/drunk.
Yes. Most importantly, just send those questions in, though, so we can feature them on the show. We don't want to miss out.
Absolutely. And if you need any more video game hangover, as if that was not enough, you could follow us on Blue Sky, where we're VGHangover.com, and you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this show at VGHangover.com. We would love for you to hang out with us on Discord, chat about video games and other fun things. We were sharing holiday recipes over the weekend. Spin Doctor made a homemade version of the Mountain Dew Baja Blast pie to rave reviews. Yep.
Yeah. Man, I didn't talk about the pie.
No. Want to go long? Got an hour of content on the pie? Let's go.
Talk about let me wait for them to come up with a pie roguelike by the developers of Duke Nukem 3D.
Thanks for listening to piehangover.com.
Ooh.
And we would love for you to subscribe.
Look good, though.
Yeah, it did. It was fantastic. You should go to our Discord, sign up, hang out with us just to look at that picture. Subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice, and maybe hook us up with a referral to your friends. Tell them about the show. That would mean the world to us. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps us bring in new listeners. We really appreciate it. We get to hear about everybody else's attempts at making the Taco Bell pie. And speaking of the Taco Bell pie, I'd like to give thanks again to RJ Lake for our intro and outro music this week. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to spellmynamewithabang.bandcamp.com and get the whole catalog, the whole discography, one of those things.
Fantastic. We'll be back soon. We'll be back next week with a stream. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our season finale. Right?
Or you
can all the things.
Yeah, I was going to say, or they can catch the live stream on the 12th.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's a busy week.
Yeah.
I got to rest up. I got to buy some booze.
Yeah, gotta get in shape.
I'm going to get in shape by climbing a mountain.
Ooh, there you go.
Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Goodbye.
Good night.
Have a good one.